Hey, what's good, everybody? It is episode 102 of the Standing 8 podcast. I'm Aaron Soria from Los Angeles, and I got the usual suspects with me. We got Tommy Russ Jr. out in Dallas, also from Dallas, Stephen Ruiz of Ringside Global, um, also none other than Courtney, the Bird Brown Sugar Tanner, and also Michael Gomes of out of out of out in New Jersey. So we got most of the crew here. So we're gonna get straight to it. Reaction to Ryan Garcia's majority decision, stunning victory over Devin Haney at the Barclay Center on the night of 420. Garcia, who came in 3 pounds over the limit at weigh-in, who also had fans and pundits alike question his professionalism during the fight buildup, used every tangible tool in his disposal to make it a rough night for Devin Haney. We saw that Ryan hobbled. He hurt Haney in the first round with that left hook before scoring his first knockdown, which came in the seventh. The other two knockdowns came in the 10th and 11th, and it was a rough night for Haney all throughout the fight. And as we all saw, Garcia with the majority decision with scores of 114-10, 115-09, and 112-112. So let's get our reaction to this fight. I know you got everyone, all of us has a lot to react to, a lot of opinions, analysis of ours to unleash on this episode. So let's go to you, Tommy Rush. Give us your prediction. Actually, your prediction, what you thought. Even during Ryan's antics leading up to the fight, how you saw this fight playing out, and also your reaction after everything was said and done after 420. So go ahead, Tommy.
Man, let me start off by saying my original prediction was probably a lot like other people. I thought Haney was going to be able to control the fight and keep him off. Be smart enough, be wise enough, be skillful enough to keep him off and execute that jab and control the ring. But that shit didn't happen, and I knew that there was a chance, with Devin being, as I've kind of said before, all of this happened, and I'm back on that train now. The pillow hands and the chin that's been a little suspect. There was that possibility that this could happen, and I wasn't surprised that it happened, but I didn't see it going that way. And so, phenomenal fight. I'll just say, overall, while there was many moments in the fight where, I was just so annoyed and screaming at Ryan Garcia to throw a fucking jab, or throw something when he's just standing right in front of him. The back and forth of the fight was great. The fact that he didn't throw and it allowed Haney to settle in a little bit and win some rounds and pocket some rounds there. And the back and forth that just kind of just the volleys of how the fight went. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, man, that left was nothing to play with. Nothing to play with. It was like every time Ryan would throw, he would catch him. And that's all it really took. Like if he would have engaged, I felt like if he engaged more, the fight would have been over probably before round 7. If he threw a jab, in the fight consistently, I felt it would have ended early. But overall, outstanding fight. It was well worth it. And shout out to Ryan Garcia, because he put on a show for couple months before the fight, and he put on a show in the ring as well. So it was great.
Awesome take, Tommy. Let me go to you, Michael Gomes. I know you've been itching to say something about this fight. Also, you noticed some tactics that you believe that was specifically laid out by Coach James.
First of all, I'm going to start by saying like this. Big drama show. Shout out to Triple G. Actually, got this hat when I was recording in Madison Square Garden when we went to watch the fight.
I think they give them out with free car washes now, just so you know.
Yeah. Whatever. One of the best middleweights ever. But anyway, so I'm not surprised of the outcome. Tiffany and I actually were talking about We were talking about the fight literally like a day or two before on her Facebook. And I said, look, I'm picking Devin to win the fight, like anybody else with any type of IQ when it comes to boxing. But I said this, if Loma can hit and hurt Devin, if George Linares can hurt Devin, Ryan Garcia's speed and his power with the 3 pounds that he came in overweight, which was now obviously strategy, hats off to whoever advised him. I'm hearing Floyd Mayweather. I'm hearing Oscar De La Hoya, whoever it was. Hats out to them. When I saw him right before the fight and I saw the encounter between Mike Tyson and Ryan, I saw the shape Ryan Garcia was. I said to myself, Devin's going to have a long night. But I'm going to say this. A lot of people are discounting or marginalizing what Devin did in the fight. I'm not mad at the 112, by the way. If you watch the fight again and you look at the rounds that he won, okay, the only thing I'll say is this. The ref does help Devin Haney round 7. I do believe if there was a little bit less interference, I don't think Devin comes out of round 7. I really don't. But if you're going to score the fight, if you go and score the fight and you look at the points, it is a 112 to 112 because I gave Ryan Garcia round 6. I give round 12 to Ryan Garcia, but I could see people give Ryan Garcia rather Devin Haney round 12. If you gave Devin Haney round 12, it is a 112 to 112 fight. It is. However, let's not marginalize what was or what transpired in that fight. You know, beyond all the skepticism, beyond all the obstacles, beyond all the critics, Ryan Garcia went in there and he went to fight. And he set the tone right from round 1. When he hit him with the left hook, round 1, within like first 17, 18 seconds. And when I saw Devin get hurt by that left hook, I said, that's interesting. And then you watch round 6, you start to see Devin's legs start going under him in round 6 already in those first 30 seconds of round 6. And then when round 7 starts, right, and obviously he gets hit with that power shot, I was like, yeah, this is the end of the fight, right? This is the end of the fight. It could have ended round 7. And Tommy's right. And kudos to Ryan Garcia for maintaining his composure, not going for the kill. He didn't. He, at times, actually stood back and said, let me take my time. And he did. That was a mature Ryan Garcia in the ring. Still immature off the ring. I don't care how much of an advocate he is about Jesus Christ, which I am too, but a little immature off the ring. But in the ring, he displayed a lot of maturity, and he did something that I never thought he can do, right? Besides the composure, he didn't win that fight with his left hand. I know he hurt Devin with the left. He won that fight with his right hand. He won the fight with his right hand. His right hand set up his left hand. Now, I'll say this about Devin. I think it's time for him to let go of his father. I think Bill Haney does more damage than does good. I think if Devin, and I know this is a topic for the next couple of minutes, but if Devin wants to achieve stardom, he's still a champion. I don't know how much damage he really incurred, and shout out to Devin. Hats off to him for being a warrior, and not anybody else would have kneeled down. The corner would have thrown on the flag or the white towel. He's a warrior for sure. People could talk all the shit that they want about Devin. He showed true grit in that fight. And there's a lot of people that are stopping him right now. And I'm not against Ryan as far as what Ryan said about Devin Haney, Tank Garcia. That's not an easy matchup for Tank Garcia. I don't care what Tank says, right? It's a little bit different when you're fighting at catch rate and you're hydrating a fighter, right? Or dehydrating a fighter. It's very different when you're fighting a guy at 135 who can be a weight bully, or 140 who could be a weight bully against Tank if that fight ever transpired. But I'll say this about Devin. I think he needs to cut ties with his father, keep your father in the corner. He's got to go a different route, he's got to get another trainer. Bill does too much talking off the ring and in the ring. I think that's a distraction for Devin. Honestly do. I think that it's time for him to say, thank you, Dad, for bringing me to where you brought me. But if I'm going further now, I need to take my craft to another level. I need to bring in a specialist. I don't care if it's Teddy Atlas. I don't care if it's the likes of Derek James, whoever it may be, right? But go reach out to Bud Crawford, somebody. He needs to bring somebody else. This should be the end of Bill Haney era with Devin. They need to make that decision. And with all due respect, I love what Bill has done for his kid, but let's look at the resume. The resume isn't the best either outside of the last 3 fights. Yes, but the last 10 before that, It wasn't real competition for Devin. And if I truly feel that if Devin wants to go back to the top again, which he still is, right? He's got to fire his father. He's got to get somebody else. That's my take on that. And I got a lot of other stuff to talk about, but I'll pass it on to obviously Courtney or to Steve-O here, and let's see what they got to say.
Let's go straight to you, Courtney. You're welcome to respond directly to what was said so far, and also your prediction and your take after what has happened on 420. Go ahead, Courtney.
Now I'm not going to get on
I'm going to go ahead and
7.
defer the mic.
Big drama show.
I'm going to go ahead and defer the mic because I'm going to let y'all know, like, right off, I got shit to say. So, hey, Steve, go ahead, bro.
I'm actually glad. I'm a little mad at Aaron because he went to everybody else except for the guy that covered the damn Dallas Media Day in Dallas, except for the guy that talked to Linares and told him 2 weeks before, hey, I appreciate what you did because you saw windows of opportunity and you capitalized on Haney and his chin, which has questions like Jojo Diaz caught him, Linares caught him, and guess who's faster than Jojo Diaz and Linares? Ryan Garcia.
Loma caught him too.
Loma, so this is to piggyback off of Mike Gomes. What he said is to fire your father. And you could say, hey, you don't have to, you're not fired, but let's let you take a back seat because let's piggyback on what Mike Gomes said. The fight with Loma, what does Devin Haney tell his head trainer, which happens to be his father? He knows what I'm doing. He's figured it out. And what plan B did Bill give to his son? No plan B. So what then happens? Like a horse in the Kentucky Derby that's coming up that I like to bet on too, he starts reeling them in. And if it's not 4 judges that, hey, just like Mike Gomes said, you could be 112. But then there's also the other side of that coin, which is that's a little bit suspect. If to the majority of fans that are like, that ain't no tie. But such is boxing, and we know that can happen. Just going to the main point, which is Mike Gomes has said it. You need an A1 guy that's at that elite level that's like, hey, we can make adjustments because, yes, we planned for it. However, he figured it out. So Loma, high IQ fighter, figured your boy out to where I've never seen in a corner in recent time a fighter say, he knows exactly what I'm doing. I don't know. And then the trainer kind of give him nothing new to say, okay, we knew that could happen. Let's go to plan B or let's go to plan C. And in the boxing game, that little minute or that little round break goes fast. So if you're not giving your guy high level IQ adjustments, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get some decisions that start to get razor thin. But seeing Ryan Garcia in Media Day live, just like Mike Gomes said, is old boy off the rocker? Was it a sale? Was it a pitch? Who knows? I don't know what's going on in that guy's head. Only he does. But seeing it live, that was fast, like freaky fast. And I was thinking in my head, yeah, did Ryan Garcia get caught by Tank 100%? And did his stock take a hit? Sure. But you cannot deny, like he said on ESPN with Stephen A., I tie with one punch. And it's true, Then you get into this fact that Devin and him are 3-3 in the amateurs, right? And I believe Ryan Garcia was the first one to give Devin Haney an 8 count. And you remind yourself, in amateurs, what are we fighting with? Headgear. So if I can crack you with headgear to an 8 count, what do you think I can do without headgear? It becomes a whole different game. You know what I mean? Like it's like playing it's like bowling without the bumpers for your kid. Hey, there's no room for error over here now. If I crack you with the left, and I saw it live, and I was shocked. So shocked that your boy lost a little bit of money because he bet round 8, 9, and 10 for a Ryan Garcia KO with stupid odds, like plus 8,000. It was just too nice to pass up. And had Harvey Dock not played with my money, I would have got paid. I digress. It was very easy to see that, hey, there's an upset brewing. Now, just like Mike Gomes said, everybody with a boxing IQ says, hey, if Haney comes out here and does the smart thing and technically, systematically breaks him down, it's going to be a long, boring fight. But what does he do? He goes in there to try and trade with the guy. Why would you do that? Like, why would you play into the only way that Ryan Garcia can possibly win that fight. If you box, that's not going to be the outcome that we all predicted. But if you throw in a Andy Ruiz, Anthony Joshua exchange in a phone booth, now we're giving somebody a chance. And that's where that's the type of kitchen that upsets are created. So, yes, just like everybody else, I'm thinking Haney's going to win a boring decision because he just outboxes him beautifully. And instead, what does he do? Instead of making Ryan Garcia find him, he shows up to his front porch and is like, let's do this. And to Ryan's credit, he capitalizes. Does the 3 pounds help? Without a doubt, no, it does. But just like Regis Prograis said, he blew up on me the same way Ryan blew up on him. So, hey, you got to measure with the same ruler. And it happens. All these guys in boxing are looking for that finite edge to give themselves the very best chance of winning the fight. It comes down to millions of dollars. If homeboy really bet $2 million on himself to net 12, just like Michael Gomes knows when he's in his business, I'm going to have to invest a little to make a lot. And you'll do that every single time. So, hey, if I have to lose a couple 100,000, which is a drop in the bucket to them, to net return 12 million, let's do this. And if he's really talking to Floyd and they really do that, then you're talking to the GOAT when it comes to, we're going to play my game and we're going to play my game by my rules. And Floyd is the master of that. So my hat's off to them. Whether it's fair, foul, dirty, clean, what have you, you're in a fight. It's a fight at the end of the day. So I can't really hear this. Well, he came in 3 pounds and Tim Bradley saying, he was on contract. It happens. It's boxing. We've seen it thousands of times. Once you sign the fight and you say, okay, I'll take those 2% on the pay-per-view plus 600,000, you're saying, okay, I've forgiven you and we're fighting. So great fight. Ryan's stock went from bottom after that Tank loss to the penthouse. Shout out to him. He did the thing. At the end of the day, you still got to go in there. To Michael Gomes' point, he learned. I think he had early success with Tank and tried to give it everything and got caught dirty with, to where this time he said, I had some success, but I'm also not going to get caught on something stupid. And Tommy Rush in our own text pointed that out. Derek James is like, hey, you're not messing this dub up for me. The whole world counted us out. We got this going. You're out here showboating with whoever on the outside of the ring. No. Lock back in because it's boxing. Chavez, who was that? Taylor? Who was that one where it was like a second? Mickey Bay out there has done that. He got busted up and caught in like the last second with, who was that guy? John Molina. It's boxing. You take your eyes off the road for a second, you're in the ditch. So I think shout out to Derek James for reeling that guy in fast, because in a second, that fight can switch. And as close as it was, as Mike Gomes pointed out, let's pretend he acts a fool and gets caught, and then he gets dropped. Now we're in a whole different ball game. So great fight, big drama show. To Michael Gomes' point, it delivered for boxing fans big time, and we're still talking about it. My whole IG's blown up, but seeing it in person, this is the last thing I'll say. I'll give it to Courtney. Haney is a great, great boxer. And in the major leagues, there's a lot of home run hitters in the major leagues, right, that eat fastballs for breakfast. And Ryan Garcia is definitely a fastball thrower, right? We can all agree. He throws his stuff at 99 to 100 miles an hour, Haroldis Chapman style. However, even the best home run hitters get struck out from time to time. And that was the case. Ryan Garcia threw his fastballs, and I'll be damned if he didn't strike out Haney this fight. Now, I'm not saying that Haney gets smoked 10 times out of 10, and you run the fight back different times, different outcomes. But like I said, even the best home run hitters strike out sometimes, and here we are.
And to add to your point, Stephen, the fact that Devin Haney the fact that he accepted those penalties paid by Garcia, that says to me that Devin thinks he believed in himself, that he's an elite enough fighter to be prepared for whatever tactics Garcia may come up with. But evidently that was not the case, because even Porter from the Porter Way podcast, he said that Ryan's left hook, and it's God given, and that's something elite
Blessed
fighters
by God.
are elite enough to avoid that. And Devin Haney showed us that he doesn't have that aptitude yet to avoid something of that caliber of Ryan Garcia. So I just wanted to add that too. So Courtney, let's go to you. Let's share. I know you got a lot to say, so go ahead, Courtney.
All right, so like first off, I want to clarify something. And I know a lot of people were critical of me after Errol Spence took that first L, saying that I was on social media and I got on the air here reveling in a fighter's loss when I've never been in the ring myself. Listen, get out your feelings, because this isn't that. So I'm going to clarify something, just like I did when Errol Spence took that L, that I told people for years that he was going to take. First off, I think you had to be a Ryan Garcia fangirl, straight guzzling the IG Kool-Aid to have him picked against Devin Haney at the onset. You know what I'm saying? So I think 99% of the boxing public thought, like myself, that Devin Haney was going to go in there and take care of business, and in fact get this kid out of here early, because it looked like Ryan Garcia was in unstable, unhinged territory, and was in no shape mentally prepared for this fight. I still am of the opinion that it should have been easy work for Devin Haney, especially when you got a guy who's documented and on wax and is admitting that he was drinking and he was clubbing during his training camp. Just totally unacceptable behavior from all aspects, not just of the fans, not just of the youth, being an example out there with the things he was saying to the presser and stuff like that. But like, he was just disrespecting the game in his seemingly failure to prepare and to take his opponent seriously and to take the fight seriously. With that being said, though, I had said for years that what happened last Saturday was coming to Devin Haney, and I think a lot of other people have too. I was only shocked that Ryan Garcia was the person to hold him and hold him accountable for all of his deficiencies. But lo and behold, that's who's done it, and that's where we are right now. So you got to give Ryan Garcia all his props in the fact that he went in the ring and he delivered when nobody thought he was going to be able to, or going to be in a position to. Crazy like a fucking fox. Excuse my language.
You stole my line.
Even with the concession of the 3.2 pounds of the weigh-in and not making any attempt to step back on the scale, I was telling some guys at work the other day, listen, sometimes you give up a little right now to get a lot down the line. And so I'm not really up and versed on this alleged wager he made on himself for what amount that was, or whatever that would have indeed made up for the $1.5 million that he forked over or whatnot. I say that in terms of his viability in future fights and his asking and his commanding power as a pay-per-view draw from this point on, and his notoriety. I'm sure there's been a few more million Instagram fans or followers since then. In that aspect alone, he gave up $1.5 million to net tens of millions of more dollars in earning power down the road. Just a genius move. But back to Haney. Wow. I think I'm still in shock. I'm still in shock about Haney's inability to adjust And Ryan Garcia basically took that ability to adjust away. If we saw how he rocked Devin Haney in the beginning, if we've seen in the past, in past fights, how Devin Haney has reacted to getting rocked by boxers that are well past it, he got clipped with a good shot early, and he had nothing. I think what Garcia took from him, besides his chin, was his belief in himself. And we've seen throughout boxing time and time again, when you have a fighter of Devin Haney's caliber and his ilk, and that belief in self gets snatched away, then never comes back. They never get it back. They either spend the rest of their career looking for it, or they spend the rest of their career running from everything that has the potential to remind them of that moment. Adrian Broner, we saw the writing on the wall with him, but I seriously believe that Devin Haney has experienced that Marcos Maidana moment in there. And Devin Haney, and the thing is, the narrative that was never really carried forward from that Adrian Broner and Maidana fight is that, Adrian Broner was getting crispy on Maidana, and he made it a fight down the stretch. It was just a little too late. We've talked about the scorecards. I'm in total agreement that, if you give Devin Haney the 12th round, it's a 12-12 fight. Factoring in, the knockdowns or whatever. But at the same time, even with that mathematically, it's very hard to make the argument. It's very hard to, convince people that Devin Haney deserved to win after he was knocked down 3 times in the way that he was. You know what I'm saying? Even if he'd won every other round that he didn't get knocked down in, just the way he looked, the way that Harvey Dock, who I think is one of the best in the game, but he was seriously not. He was not on his A game that night.
He had a parlay on it because only 3 knockdowns were counted. It's not like Haney didn't just go down the 3 times. He went down more.
Hey, him and Ryan conferred before. He was like, "Hey, I'm gonna win something too."
I think people are definitely justified, or definitely have justification in their disappointment in Harvey Dock, myself included. As I've said, he is one of the few solid refs out there. And hey, everybody's entitled to have a bad day, have a bad night, or whatnot. But a 12-round championship fight between 2 high caliber guys in a sport where you're putting your life on the line, you're putting your future, your vitality on the line, in the public, in front of the eyes of millions of people. That's not the time to coddle a grown ass man. And that's definitely what Harvey Dock did for Devin Haney. But I mean, in terms of where the future goes, a lot's been made of the exchange between Eddie Hearn and Ryan Garcia's father, where Ryan Garcia's father was talking some cash money to Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn, in true stiff British upper lip fashion, was like, as a matter of fact, I do have somebody who I think could beat your son's ass, and that's Jerron Boots Ennis. Since y'all are going and talking about going to 147 anyway, what's up? And Ryan Garcia's father, basically taking stock of life within the span of 0.5 seconds, and it's like, hey, what about Pitbull? But Pitbull is for all purposes a blown up featherweight, and Ryan Garcia says he's ready for Sebastian Fondura. People, and hey, people want certain problems until they finally get them, and Pitbull is, he's looked better than expected and defied all expectations in every fight that he's been in. And he's done a little better than people thought he would do. And we saw what happened to Teofimo directly coming off the Lomachenko loss. I mean, the win against Lomachenko. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, in the sport of boxing, your credibility, it's like your credit score in real life. When you fuck it up, you never really get it back. So,
but you can still get a house if you get with Michael Gomes. He'll get you right.
Hey, I did.
And then I'll get that house protected.
Shameless plug. But yeah, I actually have a lot more to say. You know what I'm saying? I can hold the mic all night and speak on this fight, but I'm not, obviously this is a panel style discussion, so I'm gonna hand it back until it comes back to me.
Okay, I'm sure we'll circle back to all the connecting names regarding Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. But also,
let me say one more thing though.
Go ahead, Bernie.
Condemnation for the WBC, shameless act. I know Ryan Garcia blew weight and was not eligible to win the title, but there should be no way in hell somebody is walking around with a major organization strap around their waist after taking an L in the fashion that Devin Haney did. You know what I'm saying? Devin Haney is a champion for what he's overcome in life. Devin Haney is a champion for what he has done for his community. He's a champion for being an example particularly to young Islamic American youth. But what the WBC is doing by allowing him to still wear the same belt that the likes of people such as Julio Cesar Chavez, Muhammad Ali, Lennox Lewis, Bernard Hopkins, and a whole host of other people have worn around their waist, that is just insulting. That is insulting, and that's insulting to the fans. That's insulting to the public, and that is insulting to every person who has stepped inside that ring and traded leather and shed blood. That is an atrocious decision by the WBC, and I just want to take the time to vociferously let that be voiced by me that is a sham and that is a travesty. And,
chill out. We got friends at the WBC.
We are not stupid. We are not stupid. But if they want, they can chime in. But that I don't think I'm presenting a very minority view. But I'm saying, hey, we know with the organizations, it's about the revenue stream. But hey, like allowing Devin Haney to keep the WBC title after he after that type of showing, come on now. That there's no tact. You're basically telling us it's all about the money. And that is just fundamentally unfair.
And a couple of boxers came out. I think Regis Prograis was one of them, and I forget who else, a former boxer. I don't know if it was Sean. I don't know if it was Sean Porter or if it was Tim Bradley. They said the same thing, right? They second that notion that, regardless of, and by the way, guys, my understanding is that Ryan Garcia they were allowed to come in as much as 5 pounds overweight, that it was actually contractually allowed if they wanted to, except for obviously the belts were out of the question. So Ryan Garcia could have came in 4.5 pounds heavier, and Devin Garcia still had to go fight. Because I know a lot of people say, well, Devin chose to go in the ring that night. He had a choice. No, he didn't. It was in their contract. People forget Ryan Garcia was the A side in negotiations there. It wasn't the other way around.
What was it, 55-35 or something like that?
55-45, my understanding. Yeah. Ryan Garcia was the A side. He actually dictated the vast majority of terms in that fight, right? So he was allowed, and so was Devin allowed to come in overweight if they wanted to. But as far as what Courtney is saying, absolutely. Yes, Ryan shouldn't have won the belts, but the belts should have been forfeited because, in my opinion, I think the general consensus is that he lost. So the belts should have been forfeited. And by the way, Julian Givens, no, I get what you're saying. Ryan Garcia stands a better chance against Furtado versus Boots. I disagree. Meaning, like, you're saying Boots wouldn't do as good against Furtado. Boots kills him. I'm sorry. I don't think anybody wants a problem with Boots right now at this current moment. Not for the next 3 years.
Fundura, not Furtado.
Fundura.
Furtado is something you eat.
Yeah, Furtado is something you eat. Fundura, rather.
Nelly Furtado.
But yeah, they definitely should have vacated the belts. I want to go back to the next fight I would like to see that makes the most amount of sense in terms of pay-per-view, in terms of gate, And I have to tell you this, and I hate where it's going, but the rematch against Tank and no catch weight right now, I don't know what the numbers are. Rick Glacer's saying that it's 900, a million.
Yeah,
buys,
I'm seeing.
I believe I haven't bought a pay-per-view boxing fight in a while. I bought that one the other day. Tank versus Ryan Garcia pay-per-view does 2 million buys. 2 million buys. It does no less than 1.8. That is the money fight right now. That is the absolute money fight at this current moment, outside maybe of the dream matchup of Bud Crawford. Stay out of it, Steve-O. Bud Crawford versus Canelo. Outside of that, that is the money fight. And if that, because Tank's corner also has got a decision to make, because he can't keep moving away from Shakur either at 135, right?
He's retired.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever, right? And then at 140, you got a slew of problems, okay? You got a slew of problems at 140. I mean, what do? Do you just take the money and you say, fuck the L? Because at some point, they're going to have to do it.
Charlo
they're
did.
going to have to fight Shakur and Tank. Sorry, Tank loses that fight. He doesn't beat Shakur Stevenson, all right? As much as Shakur is a boring fighter, they can say whatever they want to. He's the most complete fighter outside of Bud Crawford and Canelo. He's the most complete fighter right now, right? Third.
Hey.
Tank doesn't win that fight. And at 140, he's got maybe 2 losses there at 140. So, I mean, at some point they're gonna have to make a decision on, all right, we're gonna take the money and then we'll figure out the L's later on. Go ahead, Court.
Because, hey, I know my man Tommy Rush is not trying to hear any disrespect to his hometown of Indianapolis, Indiana. Hey, shout out to Frank Martin for putting it on. But that is not a pay-per-view fight. It's Shakur Stevenson. I mean, not Shakur Stevenson, but Tank Davis is basically, the jig is up on him. The jig is up, and I really don't even think his most hardcore fan base are going to tolerate another overpriced pay-per-view that he is in against an opponent who is not, I'm not going to say mediocre, I'm not going to say subpar, but another opponent who's not willing to carry that weight. As far as
Courtney, let me add to your point real fast.
You know what I'm saying? For that pay-per-view.
Courtney, let me add to your point real fast. With what just happened with Ryan and Haney and the numbers that Tank finally got with Ryan and Tank, 2 + 2 = 4 to me. Clearly, Ryan had some say-so on those pay-per-views, because we saw Tank's 300,000, and then we see it go up with Ryan. And then what's it going to do with Frank, right? And then we just saw what happened with Haney, who's not the outspoken guy, and he surely wasn't selling the fight. And what just happened with Ryan? So then you're like, the face of boxing, huh? It looked like you needed that dance partner last time. Let's see if you can replicate it this time. And I don't see that happening.
Hey, and that speaks to Julian's point in the chat, where he's asking, who's the A side this time? When it comes down to that fight, if it goes down, because you already know both sides are going to be screaming at you. Tank is going to be screaming it. That's the main.
He's not the A side though.
I know,
and I'll tell you why he's not the A side. Social media does not lie. Social media does not lie. And Ryan Garcia gained 2 million followers overnight on Instagram alone. His social media presence is much bigger than Tank.
This is easy.
Much bigger. It's not even a comparison.
Tank is not the A side, because more oftentimes than not, he's fighting C sides.
Correct.
As his B sides.
Right.
Correct. Like, for God's sakes, go fight William Zepeda for at least. Frank Martin's an average fighter who's gonna.
They don't want my dog Zepeda. I bet on that one.
They don't want that motor.
Yeah. So how's a guy gonna fight what Frank Martin's ranked? What, 6th, 7th, 8th? What is he ranked? He's like, why is he not fighting guys like Williams? He's not gonna fight Shakur. So at some point you can't hide. At some point, the road is going to close in, and Courtney's right. Like, even his own fans, I'm watching it on social media. A lot of people are coming out and saying, you know what? Shit, man, against Ryan Garcia, you know what? We're going to have to give him the benefit of the doubt, because he did fight him at a catch weight. He did fight him with a rehydration clause. So even his own fans are now coming out and saying, damn, maybe that fight is a lot more interesting than I thought if it wasn't at catch weight, if it wasn't with a rehydration clause.
And it's not new. What did he do with Leo Santa Cruz? He got the name of Leo Santa Cruz, but you got that little guy, that little skinny dude coming up, and you're still getting your ears boxed off. Mario Barrios, you know what I mean? You're getting guys that are thin-looking Mexicans, which are hard to find. You know what I mean? Shout out. You know, I'm a thick one myself, but they're hard to find. Those little Mexicans come up to you, and then you're like, okay, I got you now. You know what I mean? Like it's tough. So when you start weight training, let's not forget, I'm not a hater on Tank, but I just don't like the fact that he's the face at 29, and your biggest win was at the time Ryan as a weight drained Ryan. So what are you going to do with now a Ryan that looks very healthy and has very good pop? It's tough. And again, the pay-per-view numbers don't lie. Before he averaged around 300K, it just spiked with Ryan. And then all of a sudden, like I said, we will see. But who was looking for Frank Martin before any of these fights? It's hard to say, honestly. And this could be Frank Martin's first pay-per-view. And you have guys where William Zepeda has the same, almost the same exact record as Tank. So it's like you can't keep dancing around, and eventually you're going to say, okay, is it the money or the L's? Because we're going to have to make a decision soon.
And I didn't bring Frank Martin's name up to pile on it. Like I said, I'm not going to get out here and call him mediocre. I'm not going to get on here and call him subpar. Don't quote me on it, but I think because of Tank Davis being out of the ring so long with dealing with his legal situation and personal problems, it's basically the belt that he does hold. It's mandatory time, and Frank Martin is just it by virtue of his last win. And if that's the case, I'm not mad at that. I'm a firm believer in people being proper champs. I'm a firm believer in people fighting and taking care of their mandatories. But my qualm with the Tank Davis and Frank Martin fight is it's fleecing the fans in that it's not a pay-per-view. You know what I'm saying? So that's my issue. My issue is the price point and not the matchup itself. Because I mean Frank Martin is obviously he's fought his way there, and he deserves his shot. But yeah, the price point, that's what I have the issue with. But let's going back because Ryan Garcia is going to be intertwined in pretty much any discussion we have and anybody in that weight range that we bring up tonight. But I'll say this. I go back to Floyd on making the face off with Victor Ortiz, and him smiling in his face and saying, if you make any mistakes, you will have to pay. And the mistake that he ended up exposing with Victor Ortiz was the mental lapse, or what I'm saying, I think Ryan Garcia, Tank Davis, it's going to be the same way. If Ryan Garcia does the same shit going into that fight as he did against Devin Haney, he is going to pay again. There can be no way. I mean, hey, whatever you say in front of the camera to try to sell tickets and to generate hype and social media likes, that's one thing. But to be out here admittedly not living that fighter's life in the run-up to a fight, that will be severely exposed against the Tank Davis. For all of Tank Davis's turmoil and fiascos that he's been involved in outside the ring, the one thing that dude is in the freaking gym. And it's demonstrated that Calvin Ford does not tolerate any tomfoolery in and around that camp. I say tomfoolery in terms of him, saying Tank Davis would not have been in the club with his shirt off, and telling people, I've been drinking, I've been smoking, I've been doing this and that and the third, like, let's
not pretend all these boxers just live that gym lifestyle. No.
And I agree with you, Steve.
Stop that.
Steve,
everybody's not Floyd Mayweather, where they just live boxing. Out there, people reveling in that, like, say, hey, I need a beer, I mean, what did Ryan Garcia, didn't he bring
he drunk at the weigh-in, was drinking one on the scale,
like hey, I'm just saying
it may not have been beer
that against Tank Davis, is he's going home early, he's getting clocked off the job early again.
I agree with that, because here's the whole thing, like, if you really think about this, man, like, Devin Haney, again, there were several times in this fight where you're screaming at the screen for Ryan to throw a fucking punch. He's turning his side to him. He's doing all of this shit. For somebody that has pillow hands and can be somewhat timid to throw the punches, yeah, you might survive doing stupid shit like that, like those mental lapses like that. Like against somebody that has power, against somebody that will get up in your shit and attack you like a Tank Davis, you are not going to survive standing around turning your side to somebody like him, where we saw it in that fight. We saw training of Devin Haney in the gym practicing that straight, right? Practicing it. He got a chance to do that right at Ryan Garcia's side. He gave it to him. And what we remember, Harvey said, hey, those are legal. He got a clear shot to just clock him like 4, 5, 6 times, right inside. You let Tank do that. Your ass is folding. I don't give a shit what you got to say. Your ass is folding. You gonna catch another uppercut on the side. That you catching something. You're going down.
Can I just give the flip side of the coin just for argument's sake?
No.
You always do.
Okay. So what Courtney said, it's 100% true. If I have a fighter, I want him in the gym, living in the gym, not drinking beers whatsoever, right? We got big money on this. Let's give it your all. But let's not pretend that every fighter that's come up very hard, very tough, that once they get that big money, they're not popping bottles, they're not in the club, they're not into any vices that are out there. We see it all day, every day. But Haney just gave that cleanest lifestyle possible. Ryan Garcia was admittedly and showing, if that was the beer and it was true, he's doing everything the wrong way. And who came out victorious? If Courtney's living that lifestyle and I'm not, and I still beat him, what are we talking about? Now, you could say Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson, where Mike Tyson's out there partying up in Tokyo till all hours of the night, and he still got caught. But he still dropped Buster Douglas. Buster Douglas still had to reach in them shorts and see what's up and then say, this is for my mother. That doesn't matter. Like if you're that guy and you're Mike Tyson and you put Buster Douglas down because you're like, hey, just another day in the office, baby. And that dude gets up and now we're talking about, oh, that clean lifestyle is really now helping him because maybe my legs are shot because I had too many ladies out here in Tokyo. Now we're talking something different. But if Haney did everything by the book and lost this last weekend, what does it matter? You know what I mean? Like, it's tough. So it's what works for you.
I think Ryan's full of shit. First of all, I don't think he was drinking the way he thought he's telling people that he was drinking. Let's be 100% honest. Absolutely not. If you saw his physique coming in, that's not. Yeah, did he maybe take a shot at tequila, or maybe did he drink like a vodka tonic 4 days before the fight? Maybe did he drink maybe 5 times through his camp? Yeah, maybe that's not going to kill him. If you're drinking every day, there's no way you're going to go into the ring and fight any A-level fighter, and that's what Devin Haney is. I don't care about the loss. He's still an A-list fighter. He's an A-level fighter regardless, right? There's no way Ryan. And by the way, to your point, he already admitted that was not a beer that he was drinking on the scale. It was sparkling water with something else. And to just digress here for a second, just to grab the attention of some of the viewers on YouTube. I think Noah was saying something about Benavidez prior to our conversation, saying,
shout out Noah.
Tank's pay-per-view numbers, even on this fight, we don't know what his stardom is because he's got Benavidez fighting under him, and he's right. A lot of people are going to tune into that fight because of David Benavidez, for sure. That's going to help the numbers. So shout out to Noah for recognizing that for a fact. Regarding Jose and your comment Julian, about Boots, at 147, Boots kills him. 144, Boots kills him. Boots is a different animal. I've met Boots a couple of years ago when he fought in Atlantic City, and he's gotten even much better. I don't think anybody wants a problem with Boots at the current moment. He has complete knockout power, and he's just a different animal. He's like I equate him to like Bud Crawford, not same skill level, but the same grit and same power, right? He's just a smidge under what Bud is. I don't think he's got the same IQ either as Bud, but he's very close.
Against what level of opposition, though?
Well, we don't know yet.
But he's Bud Crawford.
I think I think he's saying
Plus-
more of like the eyeball test on what you see.
Oh yeah, if people
as
look
far as that,
good.
you know?
People
You
look
know.
good, but who could look good playing me on basketball? You'd be like, oh, this guy needs to go to the NBA.
Yeah,
Maybe
but we
not.
could have
You
said,
played
the same thing with Bud,
This sucks.
right? We could have said the same thing with Bud for a little bit. Everybody was talking about Bud and saying, "Oh, he passes the eye test," but what was his level of competition?
Yeah, exactly.
Even
Yep.
sometimes the eye test is more than enough.
He got
Here's the
dropped.
thing.
He got dropped by Aegis Kovalevsky, so it gave people reasonable doubt. If Boots fought a little bit higher and got dropped, but somebody didn't call it, then we are having those questions.
Yeah, I could understand that. But right, his skill level in the last 3 years have drastically increased and improved from where he was. It's why nobody's really stepping up to the plate at 147 trying to fight him. I don't see anybody calling him out other than Ryan Garcia, which I'll tell you right now, I will bet that fight, and I could bet the house on that Ryan Garcia gets dropped in that fight. He will
Absolutely.
get knocked out.
But didn't Boots also decline that fight with Bud Crawford when he was given the opportunity, when he had the mandatory spot against a belt that Bud held? Why didn't you cash it in?
I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
So Boots,
I mean, if we're saying that too,
Boots was the mandatory
Right,
and didn't cash it in.
Yeah, but didn't he call Bud also? And Bud's my guy, but doesn't
If
Bud
I
have the
can-
same opportunity?
But what do you mean?
Bud's
If
got
I'm the
same
champion,
opportunity right now.
if I'm the champion
Right.
if I'm the champion and I'm taking fights, but you had the mandatory and you don't cash it in, it's like I'm the butcher and I'm like serving 57. Nobody calls 57 and Boots with 57. 58. Oh no, I don't want that either. 59. Okay, so eventually, hey bro, if I called your number and you're like, we ain't ready for that smoke yet, then okay, then quit calling me out after the fact that now I'm on 60 and you're like, oh, you skipped me, huh? Nah, bro, we called you. You weren't ready for it.
I mean, look, I'm not going to disagree with that, but at the same
You
time,
can't.
I
Was
also-
fact.
you're right, but I also agree with the fact that sometimes you got to stall on certain fights. Like a Jerome, like a Boots Bud Crawford fight today makes a lot more sense than 2 years ago, for sure. In every financial aspect, sometimes the financials have to be weighed out, right? If you're going to take a loss, if that happens, right, you got to weigh the financials. The same way Ryan Garcia weighed the financials when he took the catch weight. He took the catch weight. He took the rehyd. He agreed to everything. He weighed out the financials. It was worth it.
Shout out,
for him.
Noah.
Tank 30-year-old prospect. All right. I answered your questions there because some people are talking about it. They're asking for us to answer the questions.
No, big ups to Mike Gomes for even following the chat because we get lost in ourselves. But so shout out to him.
So
Yes, sir. Hell yeah.
again,
I'm just gonna be real. I can't see for shit as far as like say for normally and it's the screen. So I mean, if I don't answer the question, I can't really see the chat. So like so y'all got to be asking so let me know what the questions are.
But that's the beauty of boxing. Look what Mike Gomes brought up, right? He brings up Boots, and we're gonna say like people are avoiding him, this, that, and the third. But also he had a mandatory spot and didn't take it when he could have fought Bud because also boxing is a business, and if I'm gonna lose Charlo, then let me lose for 10 million and not X amount of dollars. 100% I get it, right? But that's what we do. So look at Demetrius Bubu Andrade, Courtney's second savior of Jesus Christ. He picked him, right?
Hey, time out. Hey, bro, as a Catholic, don't do me like I know you're joking and stuff like that. Hey, not on the air, bro. Don't do
Okay, so Courtney's pick to upset the apple cart. Okay.
Much appreciated, bro.
Okay. So shout out JC because I rock with them too. But what I'm saying is we have certain people that we put it all on because he's avoided. And then boom, you get your guy and you're like, that dude was trash. Boxing fans, we can't do that. We can't say the guy's a boogeyman and then he gets the opposition and gets folded like a cheap lawn chair on the Jersey Shore. Shout out Mike. We all thought Boo Boo could do it. Courtney, who's got boxing IQ up the yin yang, was like, he's gonna do it. I believe it. And then he's like, oh, we saw it. He ran into a real one, and that hype is gone. And I haven't heard of that dude since. So we just got to be careful as boxing fans that we can't say a guy's a boogeyman. Then he gets the competition, then he loses, and then he's like, trash. Like just like Mike Gomes said, we have guys that are all off Haney now, cracking on him. But Haney's done and accomplished with accolades and belts way more than Tank has at 29 and Haney's 25. All of a sudden, because of one loss, discount that man.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and commit blasphemy myself, though. You know what I'm saying? That though not the more an extreme form, but drawn boots is. I'm not gonna say hey, his faithful on social media are not gonna like me saying this, but hey, I'm gonna say the quiet part out loud. A lot of the question was where the Devin Haney fans gonna move? They're already moving or shifting to Jerron Ennis, but the facts of the matter is Jerron Ennis is on the. I don't know if it's going to be the same outcome, but it's the same. Hey, he's gotten to this level in the same fashion that Debbie Haney does, and I don't know if it's necessarily through an email, but he assumed a vacant belt or one that somebody had left behind rather than earn it in the ring. So I mean, if people are quick to call Devin Haney or discount Devin Haney because of that, be on the same ilk, being on the drawn boots Ennis train, well, you got to look inward on that, because it's two talented fighters who are unfortunately in the same circumstance. In terms of Devin Haney assuming what was left behind by Teofimo Lopez, and the drawn boots and is assuming what was left behind by Terrence Crawford.
I'm gonna bring up this last thing, and just because, and then I'll shut up with this for a while. Can we now say, because we're going around saying kind of the same thing, how important is it that Turkish Ali guy, the rowdy Saudi coined by Tommy Rush Jr., that whole boxing business and pricing themselves out, that whole argument is gone. So now you have all these guys where you're like, oh, that dude is offering me a boatload to fight a guy that I should already be fighting. But the way I used to be able to get out of those was, oh, the money's not right. The fight's got to cook. Now, this guy's throwing out big dollars for real fights that should have happened years ago. You have Arthur Beterbiev and Bivol, who've been the champions, both champions, in the same division for seven years. And we're barely getting it because the money's being put up, right? If Canelo avoided Triple G for 7 years, how do you think that would go for him? And if Canelo got to say, well, the money's not right, and then you have a guy that's like, I'll give you $100 million. Oh, that excuse is gone. So you have all these guys now that can fight each other, that should have fought each other, and now we have the bankroll to do it. So we have where Benavidez is, moving up, and they're like, that Turkish Ali's guy is saying, cool, you take the winner. Well, I don't know about that. Well, no. Like, it can happen. All these guys now, that money excuse, pricing yourself out, it's gone because Saudi is printing out cash faster than these guys can say yes. So I'll just say that to Michael Gomes' point where certain fighters can't happen. I guess rolling right into that Riyadh season card. This might be the best card anybody's seen in a long time. And why? Because money would be the issue. Now, you don't have Top Rank, Golden Boy, Matchroom, any of these guys saying, well, bro, we can put on fights, but we've got to make money too. These guys are saying, hey, I don't care. Isaac Pitbull Cruz versus Jose Valenzuela. Tim Tszyu versus Virgil Ortiz. We'll add that. Andy Ruiz, Jarrell Miller. David Morrell, shout out to him. He's a real boogeyman to me. He's on the card. So it's like, hey, put all these guys on. Are we going to make money under a normal promoter? Maybe you don't, because you can't cover all the A-sides purses. But under Saudi money, put the best versus the best happens.
Hey, man.
So you transitioned beautifully into our last segment of Steven.
Yes.
So shout out to you, man. So, let's talk about it. Riyadh season is coming to Los Angeles August 3rd at the BMO Stadium near downtown LA. So it's going to be headlined by none other than Terrence Bill Crawford versus Madrimov. And also, as you said, we got Isaac Cruz versus Jose Valenzuela, Tim Tszyu versus Virgil Ortiz on the condition that Virgil Ortiz wins his upcoming fight. And also we got Andy Ruiz versus Gerald Miller, David Morrell versus can't really pronounce. You see his name on the screen. I can't pronounce. I don't want to butcher his name. And also Andy Cruz versus Antonio Moran. So Tommy, let's get your overall impression of this stat card come August 3rd at the BMO Stadium. The Saudis putting a lot of money into this. Eddie Hearn heavily involved. And also Oscar is not too happy about what's happening with this. And so Tommy, let's get your thoughts on this.
Hey man, hey, shout out to Ringside for throwing my coined phrase out there for him now, the rowdy Saudi, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't, man law, I don't know about calling this dude His Excellency all the time. So I'm gonna call him the rowdy Saudi, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna respect that. But dude, this man to put this like Steven hit the nail on the head of when it comes to the floodgates have opened up when it came down to the money opening up these opportunities for cards like this. I'm gonna put this to y'all in a way that I know how. Barbecue. This is like, man, you go into that barbecue spot. You got Bud Crawford in this main event. I got the brisket. All right, now let me come over here. Oh shit, Isaac Cruz and oh man, let me get some of these ribs right here. This look good. Oh damn, Tenzo and Virgil Ortiz. Oh, y'all got some nice turkey. I heard y'all turkey was nice. Let me get some of this. Whoa, Andy. Oh, y'all got some nice sausage too. All right, let me get a little bit of that. You got some mac and cheese and some beans over here with Morel and Cruz. Let me get this whole plate. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, you walking out with $200 worth of food. But this event right here, man, we're gonna get full off this bad boy right here, and we're gonna enjoy it. This is gonna be righteous, and this is what we need. Turks and Caicos, Turks we trust. He coming over here and he wrecking shop. He said, man, this right here, this is gonna be fire. Like we already seen what we seen in the last event. This one right here, I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Shout out to His Excellency. So let's get to a great breakdown, Tommy. Let's get to you, Courtney. I know you're excited about this card. So give us your overall impression from top down. Your thoughts, Courtney.
Man, as thrilled as I am, man, this reminds me of one of those old school Don King productions back in the day, where you had Mike obviously doing his thing at the top of the card, but you know what I'm saying, then you have a Julio Cesar Chavez, as the co-feature, what I'm saying, and then 3 title fights under that. It's special, man. It's special. And I hope that with the Saudi royal family making a serious play in the sport and really investment in boxing, and that I've always said is a global sport, so therefore it can never die. And I think this is evidence of that, of the global influence of boxing and the involvement of the Saudi royal family. I'm loving it, man. On the other end is being an ocean away, and y'all know how I love to be in town for the fights, man. I'm hating. You know what I'm saying? I'm hating on everybody who's gonna be there, even in the cheap seats, man. But boxing needs this. Boxing needs this. The fans need this. The fighters need this. But I'll say the people who need this, who don't think who need this, are the promoters. Because in order for them to stay relevant, this is what it was always going to have to be, is them having the, basically the argument, the this side, that side of the street arguments were going to have to break down. And they were going to have to start pitting their people against the best and having an avenue in order to do that. And I've always said it was going to come down to enough money. I've always said it was going to come down to an entity entering into whether it was the television or the promotional aspect, that was going to have enough money to break down the walls that were being put up. I think we're all still in mourning over Showtime's the death of their coverage of boxing, and by extension, I think everybody's still grieving over HBO's exit from the game all these years later, because of what they gave us, because of the legacy in that. but their deaths were necessary in order for it to come down to this, and for us to be in store for great matchups and great cards like this. And that's basically where it's had to go in order to for boxing to progress and advance into finally into the 21st century. So I think it's one of those things where, and not only are all these fighters going to win, all the fans are going to win, and boxing is going to win off this card. So definitely something for us, definitely something for all of us to stand up and applaud for.
Corey, I have a follow-up question, and also the panel could, follow up with their opinion on this question I asked. What are you guys' thoughts on, Oscar's? He put out a post, kind of like player hating on Eddie Hearn's project with Riyadh season coming to LA. Courtney, your thoughts on him kind of like marginalizing what Eddie Hearn is trying to do here in LA, and particularly with this card? Your thoughts on that, Courtney?
Okay. As far as that, I'll piggyback it or tack it to something else in terms of, it came out a few days ago that Ryan Garcia would not be. He said he will not be willing to accept a rematch with Devin Haney, and gave various reasons for that. And then Oscar De La Hoya, in a follow-up, said, hey, we basically, he said, we wish Devin Haney the best of luck in everything, and we thank him for getting in the ring, giving Ryan the opportunity that he did. But there will be no rematch. And he said, basically, good luck with Eddie Hearn. We hope that pans out for you. A British guy posing as an American boxing promoter. And I was thinking, damn, that's some serious shade. But I think with Oscar, I think it hasn't dawned on him that he's going to have to get with it or get lost in terms of him being able to stand and operate as a promotional entity with Golden Boy, because this is evidence that everybody else is, even PBC. And Eddie, and the genius of Eddie Hearn is he is always gone where the money is. And that's why he's in the States, because he saw the potential to make money. That's why he was, he was the first to have his fighters on the DAZN platform, because there was billions of dollars there when that platform, by the the people who started up the DAZN, and were offering to make DAZN a platform for boxing. And now you have the Saudi royal family coming in and stepping up and saying they will be the patron saints of boxing, particularly in America. And him riding with that, because again, that's where the money is in boxing. If there's you go where the money is, because that's where the opportunity is, and with opportunity, you can achieve greatness. And I think that's where that goes. And I think Oscar, it's easy for Oscar as a mudslinger throw shade right now, but I just think it's purely a case of him not being able to get with it. But hopefully he does, rather than get lost.
I second that motion. Oscar, obviously, Eddie wasn't a fighter, professional fighter, and Oscar was. And Oscar, obviously, we can't take away what he did in the box. As a boxer, we can't take away what Oscar did. And he's done some great stuff, from a promotional standpoint. However, from a business standpoint, Eddie Hearn has him beat tenfold. Oscar's never going to be able to get to that level. Eddie Hearn is a very intelligent, very savvy business entrepreneur type of person. And he's always had the ability to create opportunities. And Eddie Hearn is here for the next 20, 30 years. He knows what he's doing. He knows to attract money. He has a lot of financial avenues around him. He did a great job with the DAZN, and he's done a fantastic job at putting great fights. So Oscar could throw shade all he wants. That's coming from an ego standpoint. That's almost coming from a jealousy standpoint, that somebody with no boxing career did it better than Oscar. And that's just the reality. And Oscar at some point in the future is either going to have to get with it, like Courtney said, or he's going to just fizzle out like Don King, and I hope he doesn't, because I think that, Oscar's good for the sport, but also Oscar also is very controversial. Eddie Hearn is
yes,
in just a an individual filled with class that's good for the promotional side of the business, right? And that's just the reality of it.
This is almost to me like this reminds me like because it's almost like all right, right. Oscar is a fighter. He's doing some of the same things that some of these fighters are doing today. They get in social media, they try to rile some shit up, they try to create some buzz and some attention around things and all of that. Like it's almost like he's trying to go that route with this. And like you said, Gomes, uh, Eddie Hearn is he's smart, he's savvy, and as you said, he has him beat right now, and and it's almost like Oscar's just like being this immature, petty little brother in the situation, but he's the older brother in the situation, and I love the way that Hearn responded to him too, because he flat out told him, you know, he's because he said it right. He's like, I'm not gonna let some guy that has never stepped in a ring outdo me. This is war. Like I'm fighting, and you're not gonna do this in my country. Like all this stuff he's saying, like he's trying to throw out all these buzzwords and all of this shit. And and Eddie Hearn's like, I got you beat 18 champions to 4, man. Like, why are you like just like being so like habitually obsessed with me and like just played him to the side real smooth, like man, move along, dude. Like and like what we're saying here, get with it or get out of my way, man. Like why are you over here barking up my tree? Why are you focused on me? Why don't you focus on getting more than 4 champions while I'm sitting, you know, I'm turning over 18 right now. Like, bro, leave me alone and go pay attention to what you need to pay attention to. And so like, yeah, this is one of these moments where Oscar he's being that diva. And when I think about Oscar fighting in the ring, this is like the empty punches, that those empty flurries that we saw him throw in the ring, where like sometimes he just does that busy work and he's just doing this. Like that's what I think he's doing right now. Like in that moment, like he's throwing those flurries, trying to win some rounds, trying to get some action, and really he knows he's losing right now against Eddie Hearn.
He's always going to lose. I think people forget Eddie Hearn's background. If I'm not mistaken, he was part of the online poker with Matchroom when his father started Matchroom. His father was actually the founder of that company. You know, Eddie Hearn has been around business for a long time, since the inception. At a very young age, he's been around big money. He's been around people that can create opportunities and open doors for him. And Oscar's only been around the boxing game. Eddie Hearn has been around the game, period. With high stakes poker, with other sports, I think golf, if I'm not mistaken, if somebody can want, I don't know if anybody wants to verify darts and stuff like that. He's been around.
I got some darts to throw. Let me go.
You know, and Oscar has to just, you know, sometimes you just have to recognize when someone does it better than you, and instead of you create friction, why don't you jump on the wagon? And that's what Oscar needs to realize, and needs to do that sooner than later, or else he will fizzle out. He will. I mean, he's got problems already, you know, within his own promotional company. He started problems with, you know, his own fighters. I mean, you had the situation with Canelo and situation with Ryan Garcia as well.
Twice with Ryan, two contact.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. Twice. Yeah, he needs to take a page out of Eddie's book, and he needs to learn a little bit. You know, some people just need to stay in their lane and realize that someone is just better at it than you, for sure.
Let me quickly summarize real quick, and I'm a little upset that Tommy got off, because when he was going through his barbecue analogy, he said Andy Ruiz and nice sausage and didn't give no pause or no diddy after that. Then I'm a little upset at Courtney because I used the second coming of Jesus Christ, and he got on me for blasphemous talk, but then said the Muslim guys were the patron saints. So you did exactly what I did with just the analogy, but no problem. Just like Mike Gomes said, his father, Eddie Hearn's father, has been in this game. So just like Bill Belichick, do we know him for his football play, or do we know him for his coaching ability? Eddie Hearn, do we know him for his boxing game or what he does in the boxing game? That's the big difference. And Eddie Hearn has got hate since he jumped into the boxing game when he went out there to that New York era and signed first who? Danny Jacobs out there in Brooklyn area, and all these guys are like, DAZN, an app? That's stupid. That ain't gonna work. And where are we at now? That guy with a stupid app, a stupid thing that just started spending money hand over fist, invested just like Michael Gomes invests in billboards because he knows it's gonna pay off. Just like you do, you'll lose a little bit of money, just like Ryan Garcia did, to make a lot more. And what did Eddie Hearn do? DAZN, blam, big money to Daniel Jacobs. And all these guys are like, you paid that much for Daniel Jacobs? Yeah, just watch. You'll see what I got cooking. And just like Tommy Rush barbecues, Tommy Rush, you missed it. You said Andy Ruiz and then Nice Sausage and said no pause, no Diddy after that. So I was a little upset that you left, but just giving it back to you right there. Sometimes you got to invest. And just like Michael Gomes said, 17 champions to 4 from a guy that was coming in with a stupid app who overpaid too many guys. And now look where the guy's at. You got to remember the pedigree. And like I said, just to button it up, we don't know Bill Belichick because he used to play quarterback or be a running back, but we do know he's a great coach. I don't know Eddie Hearn because he's the great boxer, but I know him because he's a great boxing promoter. And what he's doing with DAZN, he smoked, sad to say, my guy Oscar out there when he's like, I'm not even going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to your bosses because at the end of the day, you work for DAZN and I partner with DAZN. So we'll make stuff happen and you'll find out about it outside the meeting. Speak is what he was giving him, like on some Sun stuff. We're the CEOs. When it's time to let the employees know, you'll hear about it. So that's my little take. I think it's a great thing for boxing just because, like I said, when I alluded to it, when I transitioned, the money aspect, that's gone. You can't price yourself out anymore. Tank tried to do it with the 2 Ferraris. Y'all give me 2 Ferraris and I'll think about it. Now they're like, no, we have money out here. You don't got to.
They said what color?
Yeah. Not only that, but they said, we'll send you 2 boxing gloves. But it's the same thing. Like if Michael Gomes or any of us was like, hey, bro, I want a house. And Michael Gomes like, bro, I don't even got to pull this guy's credit score. If he says he wants the house, he's got the financials. He's got the money. It could be an escrow tomorrow. I'm going to show him the house. So all that, well, I don't know it, this and that. No, that's gone. These guys know they can write the cash. And once they do, you're fighting. I think that's why Canelo even has issues with those guys because it's like, hey, you're going to say I need X amount to fight Benavidez? Okay, done. Oh, same thing with Benavidez, the winner of Bivol and Beterbiev. Like, I don't really want that winner. But so all that's gone. That's just what I was going to say, just to button all that up on my end.
Eddie Hearn is basically the international version of Al Heyman. That's what it comes down to. Both very polished guys. Al Heyman more in the U.S. Eddie Hearn is all over, right? He's got access to money outside of the U.S. and in the U.S. And that's the difference maker. When you have money coming in from every continent and you have that accessibility, there's an old saying, which is, that goes, the following: your net worth is your network. And he's got such a big network that he never has to worry about doors opening for him because he has that access to people around the entire world. Right. And if Al Heyman had that same access, that's exactly what Al Heyman would be. He would be the version, probably a better version now than Eddie Hearn, because what Al has done here, stateside, for boxing has been fantastic. Right. And Al is also another type of, businesses, music, etc. So that's what Eddie Hearn is. Right. That's what it comes down to.
Courtney, did you have a point that you wanted to?
Yeah, I agree with what Mike Gomes said. 90%. I think the thing is where Eddie Hearn is going to be. People are going to be talking about what Eddie Hearn is doing within the realm of boxing for decades longer than Al Heyman. I'm not, and it's part of it's the age difference. You know what I'm saying? Is that Al Heyman is considerably older, so he's going to have less. He's got less of a shelf life left in boxing than Eddie Hearn does. But I think when history looks at the sport and examines their contributions, and people discuss the difference between the two, I think more than anything, it's going to be the fear factor. I think Eddie Hearn will go down as being the person who was more fearless in the game than Al Heyman. I'm not saying Al Heyman was consumed by fear or that he was necessarily afraid of anything. I think where Eddie Hearn was fearless and relentless in basically getting to the bottom line and advancing the objective. I think Al Heyman, where we're seeing it taper off with PBC now is because he made moves that were more measured. He made moves that were more scaled, and he made moves that were more shorter termed than Eddie Hearn is doing now. So I think that's going to be the difference between the two in the future when things are examined.
100% agreed.
Awesome, guys. So that's going to end it for episode 102 of the Standing 8 podcast. I'm Aaron Soria from Los Angeles. With me, Tommy Rush Jr. out in Dallas, Courtney the Bird Brown Sugar overseas, Stephen Ruiz of Ringside Global, also from Dallas, and none other than Michael Gomes, the #1 real estate agent, if not one of, but the best, out of New Jersey, repping the Triple G hat. You know what? Let's go roundabout. Tommy, any last word, shout outs you want to give out? Go ahead, Tommy.
Hey man, shout out to everybody here tonight. Hey, shout out, shout out to Tiffany, First Lady of Boxing. We missing Tiffany tonight, but shout out to the panel, man. Like this was a phenomenal episode. I love when we get on here and talk that shit. You know what I'm saying? So like this is what it is. Shout out to everybody that engaged and joined us in the chat and hopped in there and talked that shit with us and engaged and gotten that sparring with us. Like we love this shit. Like this is what we live for when it comes down to all of this. So we appreciate everybody. Shout out to y'all for listening, commenting, engaging, and joining us, and just for the support in general. Man, shout out to boxing. Shout out to fucking boxing right now. Like there's a lot that's coming. Like we just, it's just getting started. All of those talks, boxing's dead for the last few years, the same old bullshit. And then we end up getting some hot shit that's going on, and it's continuing to go on. And we're about to have plenty of it that's still getting served up for all of us boxing junkies and fans that want it. Like we ready to eat this up and enjoy it. And it's here. You know, it's a great time. It's a great time to talk boxing. It's a great time to watch boxing. It's a great time for the fucking sport. So shout out to all of our listeners, supporters. Please follow us, support us, share, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. And let's keep getting it in. We appreciate everybody. Thank y'all.
Awesome. Let's go to you, Steven, Ringside Global. Hey, my bad for not going to as soon as possible.
Yeah, you're bad.
My bad.
My
bad.
Don't apologize, bad dude, man. That's the way. We don't negotiate with terrorists on this show.
Oh.
The only thing I'm terrorizing are your shitty talking points when I get on the mic out here. When I get done, you need to call me His Excellency. That's all I know. So I'm gonna start taking.
But wait. But on a more serious note, great job working the media, the Ryan Garcia media workout in Dallas. You did a great job representing for us out there. So yeah, any shout outs you want to give out, Steven?
Hey, instead of him being the rowdy Saudi, he's the callous out in Dallas.
No, just one, you, Aaron, for always putting this thing on, man. This thing doesn't go around without you doing everything that you do in the media, all behind the scenes, getting us fools together. Shout out to Tommy, because I'm always bouncing stuff off of him, and he's always giving me his CEO expertise, even when he's working his real job and I'm bugging him and he's interviewing people and on Zooms all across America. Shout out to him. Courtney, always a shout out to him too, because of everything he does for our country, but also that he makes the time because of the passion, his energy, his predictions. He's all 100% in. There's nothing safe about it. He's out there. Michael Gomes for, also being a real estate Donald Trump mogul out there in New York, New Jersey, and still finding time to get it in with us. So guys, shout out to Tiffany. Or miss her, as she's also trying to become a certified, legit A1 referee. We know that's cooking, so we're about to have a professional referee to be in that ring. That's a part of our team, so that's a major thing. Thank you, Aaron, for recognizing that. That media day.
She's shadowing somebody. She's shadowing a professional referee. That's all I know. But yes, she's very excited, and she's going up. She's making those rounds. But yeah, go ahead, Steven.
That media day, thank you for acknowledging, man. That once you're in there, and Mike Gomes know, all you guys know, man, it's sharks out there. And so every time you get in there, it just like for me, it's sparring sessions. I learn every single time. I've been caught early when I've learned stuff very early on, and then I've used my ring expertise. And when I get into later media days, to know exactly what I need to do. So every time it's just like hard sparring, and I'm always happy, excited, overjoyed, and always taking it in to be like, I cannot believe my dumbass is out here with the faces of boxing, with the who's who of media, and your boys right in there repping our Standing 8 shirts, just putting work in for the crew, because I know that y'all would do the same. So it's all day, every day. Shout out Courtney rocking the merch all day, every day. And it's just, we talked about Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, the biggest fight in boxing in a while, big upset. And who was right there at the media day? Standing 8 podcast, right in the mix with, like I said, everybody in the game. So it's just cool that this movement, just like Courtney said from the episodes I got on early on in 80, this movement's going to keep growing. Can't contain it. We're just going to keep growing. So shout out everybody. I'll stop with this. April, Autism Awareness Month, which is very near and dear to my heart. Big time thing, a very that affects a lot of my lifestyle. And shout out to the boxers that recognize that. You have Callum and Liam Smith, that they have a sister. They shout that out. Shout out to David Morrell, who rocks that on his trunk. That was one of his fight night things. So just anything, at the end of the day, boxing is a great avenue to promote a lot of good stuff. And that's what a lot of these guys are doing. Whether you're a Muslim, you're a Christian, it doesn't matter, man. If you're walking by faith and you're trying to be a better person than the day before, I rock with you. So just shout out to everybody that's in that struggle, that fight, that lifestyle, just everybody going through battles that we don't know about. Man, I'm rocking with you. We're out here. If this puts on a show and we're able to give you a little bit of escape for a little while, we've done our job. So shout out to you, gentlemen, and everybody that's doing the best to become a better man or person, man, woman, child, the next day. We're all here. We're all humans. We're all fighting the good fight.
You're muted, Aaron.
Well, as I said, great thought. Thank you, Steven. Great words. Obviously, shout out. And also, Michael Gomes, any closing thoughts, words you want to give out?
Well, it's always a pleasure to me amongst great individuals like yourselves. But let's give a shout out to Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney for putting boxing back in a map amongst the casuals, because I don't know if you guys noticed, but 2:00 in the morning to like 2 days later, Twitter, Instagram was broken. There's everything else was not spoken about other than that fight. And that makes my heart, nice and fuzzy to see that people are actually getting on. Even UFC fighters are saying like, oh my God, that was a great fight. So I love that, right? That's what boxing is about, right? Like being able to put on a great show like that and then people talking about it. And it was almost like, I don't want to say David versus Goliath, right? Because Ryan did a great job at selling that fight. But it was almost that way where it's like people were rooting for Ryan because Devin Haney was such the favor and Ryan was such the underdog that people were literally rooting for him that didn't know anything about boxing. And obviously that transpired into a victory. So I'm excited for where the state of boxing is and will continue to be. There's a lot of great fights. You have an excellent card coming up in August with Bud Crawford, probably one of the best cards we've seen in many years, right? So we're excited. That's all. I'll see you guys soon. I got to run out of here myself.
Yeah. Did you want to respond to that though? Like,
I'll respond, Mike. Maybe that will motivate you to start buying.
No, we've been on you about that since you said it earlier.
Yeah, because I will stream fights illegal. Tell whoever you want to tell, but that one I bought.
That's how he keeps the petty cash.
Exactly.
Hey, because before he leaves, because the Sir Excellency, the Rowdy Saudi, Turkish Ali, me and Mike Gomes might have a real ass bet coming through the pipeline with Bud Crawford and Canelo.
Just,
Hey, it's out
just
there.
know
It's
that
out
you
there.
heard it here first. And I was turned into Ryan Garcia prior to the fight when I said that. And everybody was like, people want to see it. And whenever people want to see it, I've seen it. Look, Mikey Garcia fought Errol Spence, 2 divisions apart. If that fight can happen, the Bud Crawford fight versus Canelo for money, and Bud takes off and retires, which I'm happy for him if that fight takes off. I mean, it's a risky fight for Canelo, really, in my opinion. It's a win-win for Bud. It's all about legacy for him. If he loses, it's no tarnish on his legacy. It's just a win-win for him, and he's going to make a lot of money. His grandkids will be set because of that fight. If I'm him, I take that fight no matter what. And he's going to take the fight serious. Like, he's going to go in there and try to beat Canelo, and I know that for a fact. Let's go, Bud.
Awesome. Corny, any last words, shout-outs? Oscar lace piece if you want to, but go ahead, Corny.
Before I get off the mic and get off camera, this is addressed to His Excellency Stephen Ruiz. I know a lot of our fan base pretty much tune in just to see what off the wall shit me and him are gonna say to each other in any given episode. So this is my turn. Hey, Stephen, next time you get to turn heel after I humbly defer to you and turn the mic, hey, just give me your address so I can get you some of this lotion because them heels is kind of ashy, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey, but anyways. I want to give a shout out to Stephen Ruiz for continuing to rock with us and being a dynamic addition to the show. Aaron Sorial, hey, thank you for masterminding this shit as always. Tommy, hey, thank you for being an exemplary American, bro, and all that you do behind the scenes and all those stuff that you do for people that you do not talk about. Shout out to Mike Gomes doing his thing. Future mogul out there in New Jersey. I think a lot of us, myself particularly, really miss his continued presence on the show. So when these moments that he can get on and rock with us, even if temporarily, that is always special. And we appreciate you, Mike. Shout out to the First Lady of Boxing, Tiffany Daniels, and shout out to her daughter attending the prom tonight. Hope you have a very safe and sane and sober evening that's filled with memories that are going to carry you throughout your future as your life goes in a new direction post high school and beyond. And other than that, a shout out to everybody who just continues to rock with the movement, all of our other collaborators out there, and everybody on other platforms that are rocking with us and just continuing to help their fans become our fans. And we just have the same commitment to make our fans y'all's fans, because we're about cooperation and collaboration above competition in this social media sphere in the space, because there's enough for everybody. And when boxing wins, we win. And we just want to keep on imbuing that to the public. And lastly, shout out to our international viewers who've grown in ranks in too many damn countries to list off. But no matter where you are in the world, no matter what your mother tongue is, no matter who you're rooting for and shouting for, we just thank you for making our movement global and just giving us reach. Just being able to carry our message of positivity and harmony throughout the world. And we ain't going nowhere. We're going to continue to do that for you. And so we hope y'all will continue to humbly rock with us. And hey, that's what it is. Hey, I love y'all.
Well, there you have it, folks. You heard everyone. You heard Corny, Stephen Ruiz, Tommy Rush Jr., and not too long ago, Michael Gomes. I'm Aaron Soria from Los Angeles. This has been episode 102, where we gave our reaction to Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney and the stacked Riyadh season card coming to Los Angeles August 3rd at the BMO Stadium. Don't miss it. Again, from all of us to all of you, thank you for tuning in. Have a great night, guys and ladies. So with that said, we're out. Peace.